Hey guys, I want to come on here really quick and make a really important distinction. I think this needs to be said because I feel like there's a duality that does exist, right? In the 3D and the 4D, and that kind of starts to disappear and fade outside of that. But I think it's important to make the distinction that there is a duality within things in general, right? So it's all about making a choice in how you choose to wield things. So I want to be very specific, because it's a fine balance when it comes to being spiritually in alignment and like making sure you're making the right choice and you're not making the wrong choice and da 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 da. But when it comes down to it, it's just like the simplicity of it is like baffling because it's hard to comprehend because it's so simple and it goes against everything we've been taught in terms of like, playing into that feminine energy is just like doing that creative flowing energy, like doing what you feel called to do, doing what you want to do because it feels good. And so in particular, I'm thinking of substances, right? So alcohol, marijuana, whatever it might be. I don't like to put those in boxes of being like absolutely not. And I did at one point on my spiritual journey, I was like, oh no, like none of that stuff. But I came to realize like that in itself is spiritual ego. It's like these things were created for a purpose at some point, right? And you look back over the course of thousands of years and these things have existed and they've been used in different like ways ceremonially and to like connect with and to higher realms, higher self. So I think what's important is when we are choosing to engage in these, one, there's moderation within that, right? So that you're not just constantly doing this as a form of like, I guess I would say numbing, right? You want to be very intentional with it. So if you're utilizing something to hide from yourself, to run away from something, to quiet some sort of noise, that you're delving into the realm of like gluttony and overuse. But when you're choosing to engage in something very intentionally, and I mean that like intentionally, not just being like, oh, I'm gonna smoke this and connect to the earth, but then you're not actually slowing down, you're not being present, you're not being intentional when you're actually going about that. So I think that's a really important distinction to make because these things do have a place. I truly believe, at least here, right now, in this moment, I do believe there is a place and use for them if they're utilized properly, strategically, with a purpose, not to just like fuck off and like get high or have some crazy trip or whatever. I feel like if there's an intention behind it, if there's a core of like wanting to grow and learn and expand, and that's at the root of where you're coming from or connecting with yourself or to something outside of yourself for that purpose, that higher purpose. That's what matters. But if it's something that we're utilizing as a way to just exist, to like numb, to cope, to whatever, that's when we can cross into like the problem areas. And that's when it does like the duality starts like, becoming, you know what I'm saying. So I just wanted to come on here and share that. I'm not sure why. Somebody might need to hear that. And like I said, like this is my reality, my truth, how I feel. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If you completely disagree, that's completely fine. I do view our bodies as sacred and as temples in such the degree that it's like, we were created in this image for a reason. We were constructed the way we were. Like we're just so innately worthy and beautiful. So but then like, so is all of creation, right? All of creation is beautiful. There's so many beautiful things here. that we get to experience and enjoy. And it's just like, we're only here for a short period of time anyways. So it's like, I feel like we're meant to enjoy everything in moderation and with intention. And like, if your intention is just to have fun, because it's like you had a long week and you've been working your butt off, even if working your butt off has been fun, and you're just like, you know what, I want to go out to the club. It's a Friday night. I'm gonna have me some drinks. And I'm gonna get my ass on that dance floor. And like, that's what you want to do. Okay, do it. Do it. Not saying, but then also, like, even in that respect, right, we're still being like respectful to ourselves and our bodies and our minds, and not saying like go out and get blackout drunk on the weekend. Ugh, God, I haven't done it so long. The thought of it just like grosses me out. No shame to you if you do. I'm just like, I cannot, like, think like 3 drinks is probably my max. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, you know, like, everything in moderation, everything with intention. If you're just like, I just want to have fun, cut loose, have a good time, like, go for it. Go for it. Just don't be doing that every day. Don't be doing that to the point, like I said, where it's just like you're blacking out and, like, you know what I'm saying? But we all got free will, so the choice is yours at the end of the day. I'm just here to share what I feel inclined to share right now. And I think I feel inclined to share because there are so many different perspectives on this, right? And like I said, for me personally, like, I went from drinking way too much, especially like 10 years ago, drinking way too much, blocking out way too much, going through a bunch of stuff, to, you know, I got to the place where it was like, okay, I was cutting back, at least to that degree, where I wasn't going out like that, but I was still drinking daily, consuming multiple drinks. And then, you know, I got to the point where, like, you know, as you're growing, as you're expanding, like, spiritually, I'm just like, you know what, I don't think I want to have any at all, because, you know, I'm divinely created. Like, my vessel's perfect as it is. Like, I don't need anything to, like, enjoy, because at that point in my life, I was utilizing those things, like, to enjoy, to have a good time, like, almost like they were, like, needed to have fun, or to numb, right? And I got to the point where it's just like, I wasn't feeling that anymore. I was like, I don't need to numb. Like, life is beautiful. Yeah, and then I think, I don't know, just through a series of different things and experiences that I'd had with divine, it showed me and kind of like made me check my own spiritual ego, right? Because it's like, if you're judging anyone else, you're judging yourself as well. And it's just like, not everything needs to be seen as good and bad. I don't think there is good and bad. I think there's good. I keep seeing the butterfly fly for confirmations. I think there's good and I think there's evil, right? So if we're going to go up to the 5D, there's good and there's evil in the 3D and the 4D. But within the 5D, there's no good and there's no bad. Because everything is just like created how it was intended to be, in order to bring about this evolution, in order to bring about our awareness and understanding, and to get us to where we needed to be, to see the things we needed to be, experience it, have and experience the things we experience, so that we can actually continue to grow and evolve and adapt. But the simple concept of good versus evil, it's just like, they're parallel, right? Like, it's a duality. Like, you can't have good if you don't have evil. You can't have evil if you don't have good. Like, do you guys understand what I'm saying? So it's interesting when we think of it, because in the world that we live in, right, we like to say good and evil, but then we also say good and, yeah, good versus evil, but then we also say good and bad. It's like, how come good is still the same word, but now evil changed to bad? You know what I'm saying? Like that right there to me is like showing you that it's like, hold on, it's right in front of our faces. Like things just are how they are for a reason. They might like, and I'm not, and this isn't to like, this is such an interesting way to like talk about this too, because it's also not to just be like, nah, like fuck everything. I'm not going to care about what's happening to anybody at all. But it is, I don't know. I don't really know. Because, you know, I feel like when you're on this journey, as I'm sure many of you guys know, if not every single one of you, it's just like, it all comes back to love, which is what everyone says, right? When they get super high on some crazy psychedelics, which, mind you, I've never done before. But it's like everyone says love, and it's just like through spirituality, you come to that same thing. It's all about love and unity. I think it's harder to dismantle and untangle the ego through spirituality because you're really, really digging deep. But you see, you can't. You're missing like that breakthrough until it's time for that breakthrough, which could be through means of utilizing drugs. For all I know, shoot, think about it. If there are evil energies trying to prevent like us from coming back into unity as one, wouldn't they want us to think that drugs are all super terrible and super bad? What if at some point like we need to try them so that they can show us this, and then we can go back in and do the work to elevate and our frequency? You know what I'm saying? Like if you didn't want that to happen, you would label these things that can help people significantly as bad so people don't use them. Actually, that's a huge reason. Interesting. Why I like never used pretty much like anything. Like I've had mushrooms, I've had weed, and I've attempted to have a trip, but it's like never been enough for some reason to have a breakthrough for me. But yeah, that's the reason I personally never tried it, because like for some reason I've always just had this feeling like, oh no, like drugs, apps, and it's just like, I'm like, again, like all moderation, all with like your intention. I'm just not here condoning using, but it's like, I don't know, it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. I feel like you start to see things and feel like things are backwards and like deliberately set up a way in which to prevent us from coming to our own awareness, our own consciousness of remembering who we are. Which is quite beautiful if you think about it, right? Good, evil, whatever. You're still genius and everything. And at the end of the day, like I said, like nothing is good or bad. So it's just like, it's just pure genius to really think about it. Because if it's going to help the good, right? The good here in the 3D take over and continue to elevate by expanding their mind in a way that they can now like go in and like start doing the work. You hear about that a lot when it comes to like, I watched somebody's testimony of their ayahuasca journey, and they're going to a retreat and kind of recording themselves as they're going into it and like their experience during and after and whatnot, and like hearing the facilitator talk about how she came to, start this program and start facilitating these retreats. It's like through her own experience. And it's quite interesting because it's like, even from the standpoint of the facilitator, it's like she goes on to facilitate these and run these retreats to help other people to come to their own awareness. And it's like right there, the proof's in the pudding is what I'm hearing, right? It's like sometimes and I feel like that's what they use, right? That's what these negative energies use, is fear. They utilize fear because the opposite of faith is fear. So they utilize our fears to keep us stuck, right? They make you think that like the worst thing's going to happen, right? Or even not even like depend in that context, right? Drugs, like you think the worst thing's going to happen. Like for me, I'm like, I'm going to die if I ever try something crazy. And why has that thought just been in my head for no reason? I have no idea. It's been there for as long as I can remember. But they would, of course, they would try to utilize fear, whether in big ways or small ways, right? If you have a job interview coming up and this job's going to lead you to like this and this, and it's like part of your journey, right? And you're supposed to do it, but we all have free will. Fear is going to come in and it's going to try to like psych you out so that you perform poorly, or that you think that you like influence your own mind and tell yourself like you did a shitty job, that you're not going to get it. So that you're pulling in these negative energies, you're pulling in these ways of thinking that are just not serving your highest good, not serving your highest self due to free will, right? So this is all making sense more. Anyways, I don't even know how we got here. I'm just saying, use your intention. There's no good, there's no bad. Okay? Utilize your intuition. Move with intention. Don't overindulge unnecessarily. If you want to overindulge like once, whatever, do it. But I'm saying, like, it's all about finding that balance within, and then not shaming yourself, and making sure that when you are engaging and utilizing these things, it's for a higher divine purpose. It's with intention, or it's just, you're not just like, I guess, numbing, and you're not escaping. It's not like a form of escapism for you. To hide from yourself, to hide from the world, whatever. As long as you're not doing it for those reasons, and you're being mindful and honoring your vessel, your body that does so much for you, like, you're fine. You're fine. All right. Interesting. Okay. All right. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here with me. My name is Jocelyn. If you watched this all the way through, I don't know if this is the first video you watched or this is second, whatever. I'm here sharing my raw journey as I continue to venture on this path of just being led and free falling with the divine, God, spirit, higher self, creator, whatever, source, universe, whatever word you want to use. Yeah, I'm not religious. I didn't grow up religious. I didn't even grow up spiritual. I didn't grow up with anything. I've always been someone who's identified as just like intuitively spiritual, and just kind of allowed things to unfold and just keep going. And it's led me down this really beautiful path, and I just feel so honored and so grateful. And for any of my spiritual folks, if you're here and you're spiritual, and I'm feeling called to say this, maybe I'm feeling called, I just want to say this, because to me, my spiritual ego prevented me for the longest time until like he came to me and was like, hey. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. Make sure if you haven't already, that you build a relationship to Christ. Make sure that you welcome him into your life. Make sure that he is a part of your spiritual practice. Just know that he's with you, Yeah. I just want to say that, because he is. He's with all of us always. And he plays such a huge, and I don't even know, because like I said, I haven't like studied anything to that degree. But it's like, from what I'm receiving lately, it's just like I understand what a big role he has played for all of us. It's like a role model for what we all deserve and what we can all achieve, what we're all to strive for. So yeah, if you're someone who hasn't, and your spiritual ego has been in the way just because of like past associations with the religion, and like how things kind of get twisted, and like, just the negative ties, take a look at that. Okay, that's all I have to say. I love you guys so much. I hope you're having a great day, evening, night, whenever it is you're finding this message, and we will talk very soon. Okay, love you. Bye.